YourTV volunteers are the backbone of community television, but with regular TV production shut down during the pandemic, many of them have not been able to contribute their time and skills in the last few months. Joining me now is YourTV volunteer community producer George Yantha, who, despite having just had a kidney and pancreas transplant in the middle of a pandemic, is busy planning his next production while recovering from surgery in Toronto. Welcome.
Good to see you, Bill.
Very good to see you. I'm very happy to see you up and about. This surgery in the middle of the pandemic, how did that go through? Were there any issues?
Not that I know of. I mean, I got the call the one day at about 11:30 in the morning telling me I had to get into Toronto right away.
Mm-hmm.
I booked a train that day, got here. I thought it was the next day. Turns out I had to wait until Saturday. So I've been here for already 2 weeks, coming up on 3 in the next couple of days. They took me in on a Saturday morning for the surgery. Don't remember much. I just know I went in around 10:30 in the morning. About 7 o'clock when I woke up. When I was more coherent, they explained the process to me. Everything had gone well, and that should be doing well. And they called my aunt, who was like my next of kin, and they let her know that the surgery had gone through very well. I believe, only about 4 hours compared to the 6 to 8 they estimated.
What concerns did they have trying to do this during the pandemic?
I had received a couple of letters from the Trillium Gift of Life organization that all transplants had been on hold. I had seen that I believe it was Premier Ford that mentioned there was a lift. They were going to be allowing certain elective surgeries to happen. And not long after I was reading that, that's when I just got the call. Apparently, there was a bit of a concern for me, which is why I was able to go when I did. I had a higher level of antibodies in my system, so the longer I had to wait, the less chance they would have later of finding a successful match for me. So one that came up that would have been 100% match is only about 75 to 80 for me now, even though they're in my system and working quite well.
Okay.
But the longer I had to wait, like I believe I was told it was about a 1 in 3,000 chance that they'd be able to find me a match if I had to wait like a year or more.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so lucky.
Yeah, very and well timed. How about you personally? What concerns did you have going into this?
I didn't really know what to think. I mean, it all happened literally so fast. It wasn't quite how they explained, but because I had to have the COVID-19 test done before I was even able to be considered for the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave like that day right away, get there as soon as possible. I've had 2 of the COVID swabs done. Not a pleasant experience at all, but both were negative. That was for my before and after. So that once that was a go, they scheduled me for as soon as they could, and a little more nervous like the day before, just because I thought it was going to be that day. Then they moved it back another day. The surgeons had to like go over and inspect the actual organs beforehand, and up until you're literally on the table and they're opening you, they could cancel. It's always a possibility there could be something wrong or anything like that. So that part's the only part really I found that was a bit nerve-wracking, because like I knew that up to like last minute I could end up being told to go home, but thankfully I got lucky with that one, and then just they elected to go ahead. And
what are the recovery procedures here? You said that you've been in the hotel for 2 weeks now.
I was in hospital about 8 days, which is expected. They say 7 to 10 days in hospital, and then about a week to 2 weeks after, they need you to be close by for testing. And then if they need to make any changes, they can get a hold of you by going into the hospital directly to have my blood work and all the testing they need to do every week for the first 2 weeks. They get the results right away instead of I have to wait. I'd have to go to like a life labs in Kingston, and it would take a while before they fully get it. And this way, if they need to make any change at all, and if I don't have that particular medication on me or enough, they can call me. I can just walk in, pick it up, and then, well, other than the screening process, but I'd go up to the pharmacy, I would get whatever they need me to take. They'd explain it to me in great detail, thankfully, as well. But yeah, it's been more of a relief than anything else. It's the after effect for me that's been so uplifting. You've got no idea.
I can imagine, because I do know over the years that we've been together here at the studio, I know that this has been an item that you've been waiting for quite some time, and I can certainly imagine it is very much a relief to have it done.
The past year, especially with finding out that my kidneys have been failing, and the waiting process is really the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your health is declining, but there's nothing you can do but wait till it happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's next for George after you finished your time in the hotel room and they say, okay, time to go back to Kingston?
Very much missing my family. So.
Okay, well, the family here at the studio misses you as well. Your show that's coming up, tell us a little bit more about what you have planned.
Through an organization called the Transplant Advocate Agency, I was able to find some wonderful support people to speak to, like questions, concerns, or anything else from people who have already been through a transplant. And I've had a chance over the last while, before the pandemic started, to talk to a lot of different people and be given some great advice. One of which is a gentleman named Donnie, who is a heart transplant recipient. And he is going to be my guest, and we're going to have a little discussion about what it's like to have a heart transplant. And from what I've heard from him and talking that, it's a pretty incredible story. I mean, he's been, since my transplant, like I've talked to him a couple of times, and he's been very supportive, like happier than me somehow. But
the show is called
Healthwise.
HealthNet.
With me, George Yantha.
Anything else on the horizon for George? We were talking before the interview started. You were saying that, hey, you get a second kick at life for a while. Any other plans that George has? After
30 years of being diabetic, I no longer need insulin. This is the healthiest I've honestly been probably all my life. And it's, for me, I see it as a second chance at life. And I'm not going to waste it. So I'm itching to go home just because, well, I'm not really fond of being away. Mm-hmm. And recently engaged now as well. So
congratulations.
I'm taking the steps and working on making life better.
Okay. Well, listen, it sounds like that you have just turned the corner and are now heading to a new chapter of your life, one that you've been waiting for quite some time. And I know that all of us here at the studio, we are all rooting for you. Can hardly wait for you to get back. We really want to see you, work with you again. And once we're allowed, we'll all give you a nice group hug. But until then, you'll just have to accept the virtual hug from all of us to you. Please be safe. Take care of yourself.
You too, Bill. Thank you.